What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Wrestling, and this is my review for the July 25th episode of WWE Monday Night Raw. Yes, WWE Monday Night Raw. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hey, tap the little bell for notification. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Yes, I am reviewing Monday Night Raw. This is the first Monday Night Raw where Triple H is the head of all creative in WWE, as well as him being EVP. There was a lot of intrigue, excitement, optimism going into this Monday Night Raw. Normally, you guys know me. I rarely it's been a while since I reviewed a Monday Night Raw, but this Monday Night Raw, I had to review it because for me personally, I was really interested to see how Triple H was going to structure this show, how it was going to be presented, the feel, the tone, just everything about it, and I enjoyed it. Like, this was a fun show. Triple H did a very good job with this show. But yeah, man, this show had a lot of just excitement, just a lot of attention, and a lot of people that I've seen on whether it was Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they were like, man, I haven't been interested in Raw in quite a while. And with the change of Triple H being the head of it and knowing his work and what he's done in the NXT Black and Gold brand and how that was really, it was fun. It was great matches. The storytelling and just the presentation was just so cool. Just a lot of people were intrigued, and I was as well. And man, this show did not disappoint at all. Right off the bat, I'll just go through the results, who won, and everything in the matches, and then I'll get into the things that I liked. You had Drew McIntyre and Theory. They were the first match. It finished in the DQ. Because of Sheamus, Butch, and Ridge Holland, they interfered. Bobby Lashley came in. Then they went to commercial. They came back, and it turned into a tag team match between Sheamus and Theory versus Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley won that match. Then you had third match. You had Rey Mysterio, Dominic versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Rey Mysterio and Dominic won. Alexa Bliss versus Doudrop. Alexa Bliss won. Then you had AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler versus the Alpha Academy. AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler won. And finally, the main event, you had Roman Reigns and the Usos, the Bloodline, versus Riddle and the Street Profits, the Bloodline won. Those were the matches, and man, those matches, honestly, I could say all those matches didn't disappoint. They were solid. What I can tell you from watching it, there wasn't as many camera cuts or shaky camera, which has been synonymous with the WWE TV presentation before the whole Vince McMahon sex allegation, misconduct thing started. It was very enjoyable to watch. It was a very easy show to sit back and actually watch and not feel like, oh God, let me turn this. It was very it kept you interested. But man, the show started with usually the Raw starts with a video, the intro, the Raw music and everything. No, it did the Then, Now, and Forever Together signature, and then right away it went to The Miz and Logan Paul just brawling. I like that because it was different from what we've normally seen with Raw. It was like, oh, okay, this is different. This is getting into something good. And I mentioned this on the SmackDown review when Stephanie McMahon came out, and just the little things that I noticed with the show that I was like, man, if they keep up with the little changes, eventually it's going to translate in a more easier and friendlier and just a more enjoyable show to watch. And that translated to Raw. I like that brawling segment. If they do more stuff like that, not saying that they're going to do it every week, but just it was something different. Like, ooh, okay, this is intense. And then, of course, they went through the introduction. After that, you had Roman Reigns come out. He acknowledged the crowd. It was a hot crowd. There was Roman's chants. Heyman got on a guy in the crowd like, oh, you're from Jersey. Theory comes out. He starts talking about, cashing in and everything. And this is where you knew this was a different Monday Night Raw that we were watching as opposed to the weeks and months and years past. So he's saying that Roman invites him into the ring. And this was my favorite line of the interaction between Theory and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns looks at Theory and he tells him, your daddy ain't here anymore. Yo! Like, whoa, man. Like, man, that was so cool. When he said that, I'm like, yo, like, they're really, like, it was, man, how do I describe it? Like, when you heard it, and when I heard it, I was like, man, are they taking a dig at Vince and the whole situation? And just knowing that, word around WWE is that Vince, really saw something in Austin Theory. Because practically the first hour was Theory just getting, like, annihilated, man. Like, he was just getting beat down and just, it wasn't it for him, man. He was just getting beat. But man, that line after Roman said it, that freaking New York City crowd, which this Raw was held at Madison Square Garden, which made it even better. I love the New York City crowd, the fans. Me being from Chicago, knowing how rowdy we are, the New York crowd is just as rowdy as we are. So it's just like, oh, I love the New York crowd. But man, after Roman said that, that whole crowd started chanting, Daddy's boy, Daddy's boy, who's your daddy? To Theory. And I think that might stick in the weeks following. That was dope, man. After that, I'm just like, all right, this is gonna be a fun show. It may not be to where people, I want to see all these changes, but I knew from Friday, I'm like, they're gonna do some little changes that's gonna make a very big impact on the show, and they did it, and that was one of it. Then from there, they went to commercial, but like a weird thing, like Theory, they reintroduced Theory, and he's like, oh, this is how you introduce me, and Drew McIntyre came in. Then they had a match, like I said, that led to the Bobby Lashley come out, and Ridge Holland, and that whole thing, and then they turned into a tag team match, which once that happened, when they turned the brawl between Drew, Bobby Lashley, Theory, Ridge Holland, Butch, and Sheamus into a tag team match, I'm like, well, we got something fresh and new in the opening segment, and then this is like, this is kind of similar to what we've seen before, but it wasn't too bad because it flowed with what happened in the opening segment, and that's what was I really liked. Like I said, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre won. Theory escaped from Drew McIntyre hitting him. He's walking to the back and he's not paying attention. And again, this is one of the little things. Normally, they would get a wide shot of Theory walking back and you see the guys, whoever's going to attack him come out. They got a really close shot of Theory. And then as he slowly turns, you get a wide shot and you have the Usos right there and they super kick him. Roman comes up to him. He looks at him. He's like, you better make the wise decision this Saturday. I like that. That was so cool. That's one thing about this show that as I continue in this review, you're going to hear me, talk about is that the camera shots were tight. They weren't like so wide and just getting this. The other thing I can give them credit for during this freaking Monday Night Raw, and it just came to me, was you didn't have so many wide shots of people just sitting there. Like, you got shots of people like into this show, the matches, everything. You got, like, it was so cool, and you had more shots of the wrestlers than you did of the crowd. And when you did get shots of the crowd, it was just an excited crowd, which I really liked about this tonight. Then you had an awesome video package by Rey Mysterio for his 20 years, and they chose the most dopest song for Rey Mysterio's anniversary. It was Metallica, but then Where I May Roam, but it was a J Balvin, a reggaeton artist, his mix to it, which had a hip hop beat. Like, I'm surprised I didn't hear this song before. It's already been out for a year. That was a wonderful video package by Rey Mysterio. I enjoyed it. The song added to it. It was just so... I was digging more of the song than the video package. Not that I didn't like the video package by Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was one of my favorite wrestlers. But man, I was like, okay, this is a different Raw. I like it. Then you had, Ray and Dominic. They came. Ray, Dominic, his wife, and his daughter. They came, and you hear the song from the video playing in the car. They're coming to the arena. Then you get the creepy video that we've been seeing for a while that has images of Seth Rollins, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle. More than likely, it has to be Edge. I do got to say this, and for those who watch this review, those videos are somewhat of a callback to Edge's earlier videos when he first started in the WWE, except those videos were in blue. These videos are in red. If you go back and watch those videos of Edge, You Think You Know Me, look at those videos, and it's a callback to what he was doing. It's just he's more seasoned and everything. So I do think it's Edge. You have that. Then you got a backstage segment with Ziggler and AJ Styles. They get interfered by Alpha Academy, basically setting up a tag team match later on. It was all right. Then you get in the second hour where Rey Mysterio is out celebrating his 20 years. He talks about Tijuana. He talks about guys like him weren't, the norm back in the day, which I like that, he mentioned all the things that he mentioned. I really liked because it put everything in perspective, and it did sum up him as a wrestler and how we've known him. He talked about how he broke the blueprint. I liked it. I like that he name dropped Dean Malenko, Conan, which he called him K-Dog, and he did his whole La Ribara Raza, Batista, Kurt Angle, Edge, and finally he mentioned Eddie Guerrero. He acknowledged his wife and daughters. He acknowledged the fans, and I really especially liked how he addressed the Latinos in the audience. He spoke Spanish to them, and I really dug that because normally you don't see that, and that's another thing that you saw from this Raw under Triple H that was like, this is different. I like this. This is okay. This is cool. I really like that. Then you had Balor and Finn Priest come out at ringside, which it was pretty cool because this was two times that happened tonight where the camera, you see Rey Mysterio and Dominic talking, and you see the crowd behind them like stand up and look in a direction, and they keep it on Rey Mysterio for quite a bit. Not too long, maybe a minute or two. Like, they keep it on him, and they just drag it out. They drag it out, and then it cuts to Finn Balor walking, and then you see the crowd behind them turn to their right, and they're looking, and then you see more people stand up, and then you see Damian Priest comes, and then they cut to commercial. I was like, ooh, that was very good camera work, man. That was so good, man. I liked it. I love this match. The spot for me was the Eddie Guerrero chair shot. You had Finn Balor take a chair. He hit Rey Mysterio, threw it to him, went on the ground. The ref didn't see it because Dominic interfered, got the referee's attention. Then Rey Mysterio hit Balor, threw the chair with him, got him. You know, he fell down like Eddie Guerrero. The ref was like, "Oh no!" And the crowd was just really into it. That eventually led to Dominic and Rey Mysterio doing the double 619 on Balor and Priest. 1, 2, 3, they win. It was cool. You get a video package of the ESPYs, Cody Rhodes, and just how he loved that, and how Cody Rhodes was acknowledged and received an award in the ESPYs. Then you get, a shot of Bianca heading to the ring. Then they come back from commercial. They go back to the celebration, and this was dope. This storytelling with Judgment Day and Rey Mysterio this is something you would have saw on a Raw from like early 2000s, especially with Evolution and how they played it out and everything. This is old school WWE storytelling. You get Rey Mysterio. He's celebrating. He popped out the champagne and the Patron. He took a shot. All of a sudden, they're celebrating. They bring out his mask and everything from 1997's Halloween Havoc against Eddie Guerrero. Dominic turns around. Rhea Ripley. Yes, Rhea Ripley's there. She's got I'm Your Poppy shirt. I love that because it showed that Rhea Ripley and Judgment Day are just they are some condescending, sarcastic, obnoxious heels that don't care. So she's there. She's talking to Dominic. Then Rey Mysterio's daughter, I believe her name's Aaliyah, steps up to her. Man, Rhea Ripley muffed her. They start separating. Then they drag. Rhea Ripley grabs Dominic. And I'm like, oh, crap, what the hell? Like, what the hell's going to happen? Like, are they going to kidnap him like the Ministry and run away? No, that didn't happen. She drags him out. Rey Mysterio comes out. Priest and Balor, they beat him up. They start beating him down. They drag Mysterio down the hall to where there's some tables. Damian Priest just power bombs him through the table, and they just start laughing, and they walk away. This story got 100 times better by this, and the way they executed, man. This was so good. Man, shout out to Triple H. This was a very good execution of this Rey Mysterio 20-year celebration, and also making the Judgment Day some very obnoxious, condescending, just those heels that you're like, damn, that's dirty, but like, man, I want to cheer for you. Like, very good job, Triple H. Then you get Bianca Belair come out. They show a video package, which was pretty crazy because Jimmy Smith cut to a video package. Then Bianca Belair comes out. Then Brian Saxton goes like, yeah, we're gonna watch this video package, and it was like little things like that. It was twice. She starts talking. Becky Lynch comes out, and I love this. They just started fighting. Like, they just boom, boom, boom. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, this was just to the point, man. And they just started beating each other. They separated. Then there was... they were on the outside, and on the announce table, there was a spot where Becky Lynch grabbed Bianca Belair by the hair over the rope, which I was like, damn. I'm like, I hope it doesn't. Like, all right. But, man, that was intense. You got a recap of Doudrop, Nikki, Ash, and Alexa, and Asuka. That was all right. But Alexa Bliss's backstage segment, man, she put him on notice. She mentioned Lily, but she's like, everyone in the women's division, watch your back. I'm reclaiming my spot in this women's division. I'm like, okay, Alexa Bliss means business. This is going to be interesting. Then you had Alexa Bliss versus Doudrop. It was an all right match. You could tell the crowd was kind of like just mellowing out and just enjoying the match. Alexa Bliss wound up winning in spite of Nikki Ash trying to interfere. Then we get a backstage segment of AJ Styles and Logan Paul. AJ Styles like, hey, I don't like you, but I don't like The Miz less, so should shut him up. I liked it. Again, another segment to the point. Not dragging this over dramatic. Like, no, to the point. Then we get probably the one aspect of tonight's show that I would say it was something that it had kind of like that Vince McMahon tone to it. It was like, this is what Vince McMahon would do. It's like, But there was points in this segment that Logan Paul did have some good lines. So it's basically his talk segment. Impulsive TV comes out. He's getting booed. And then he said one of the weirdest lines. He's like, my brother fights next week. Not today, but next week. But he's not going to fight next week. He's going to fight today. Not today. Tonight. And it's going to be now. And it was like, huh? Like, what did you just say? I was like, I'm not even going to try to rewind what he said. It was like, you got to work that out, man. You got to work with your verbiage and everything, because that was very confusing. Then he talks about Maurice comes out and she tells him, basically talking about the Miz's testicles, and she gives measurements. And I love this line where Logan Paul, and you can see the crowd laugh. He's like, who the hell, what guy measures their testicles? And you can see they laugh. Miz comes out. They were talking about SummerSlam. And then as he's talking, and I like this spot where Maurice like slaps the mic out of his hands, and then he gets the mic, he starts laughing, he looks at the Miz, and he's like, wow, you know what's funny? Your wife has bigger balls than you. Like, ooh, that's a good one. And then Ciampa comes out, they beat up Logan Paul, and setting up this Saturday at SummerSlam. You get a backstage segment with the Usos, Jeff Jarrett. This was just basically he was telling them, like, I don't know, they really didn't have to do this segment, because it was kind of corny, where he's like, you guys shouldn't do anything. I'm going to remember what happens tonight, Saturday, and they're just staring at each other, and he's trying to be like this. It was like this old parent telling his kids to, like, this old gym teacher telling these two guys that are competing, like, follow the rules. It was, it is what it is. Then you had AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler in Alpha Academy. It was pretty good. I liked the ending where AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler, their finishers, like, coincided with each other. It was a nice, smooth finish. It was an okay match. Like, for me, it was hard for me to get into it. One thing I can tell you about this show, once you got towards the third hour, and the third hour started with Logan Paul's segment, you could tell it was just like the crowd was just mellowing out. And then once it got to the main event of Roman, the Usos versus Matt Riddle and the Street Profits, that's when the crowd got back into it. But yeah, then you get the SummerSlam rundown. Then you get Roman and the Usos versus Riddle and the Street Profits. The Street Profits I like that they had like New York Knicks style jerseys. I like how any city that has a basketball team or football team or sports team, they have those colors for their wrestling attire, which is so dope. That's a nice, subtle thing to really get the crowd behind you. The crowd was cheering Roman at one point when he was coming into the ring. This match, the crowd was hot, man. They were all over it. One thing I did notice about this match that kind of like, man, are they going to have blood or something? The ref had gloves. And I'm like, normally when the ref has gloves, it's because there's probably blood or something. Like, okay, this is pretty crazy. The moonsault that Riddle did on the outside to the Usos. Again, another point where the camera got a tight shot. You didn't see the Usos and Riddle, like this wide shot of them standing there waiting for Riddle to come. Like, it was a tight shot of Riddle, and then it just followed Riddle on there. It's like, ooh, man, that's so good. Great camera work. Then you had, they were brawling outside. Riddle did a Randy Orton's DDT on the ropes to Roman. Then he attempted to do the RKO, which I like the spot. So Riddle attempted to do the RKO, and Roman caught him, had him up there, threw him. Riddle gets up, Roman spears him, 1, 2, 3. That's it. The match is over. So Roman and the Usos are leaving. Seth Rollins' music hits, and you get this brief stare down between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And you can almost sense, like, we're going to go back there. Like, is Seth Rollins going to defeat Roman Reigns at one point and take those titles off? Or, like, what's going to transpire? And that was really interesting. Seth Rollins, he beat down Riddle, beat him down. And as he's beating him down, you can tell this is a different Raw than what we've experienced in years past. Maybe it's because it was in New York City, but I love this New York City crowd. The crowd is chanting. They're harmonizing Seth Rollins' song like they normally do when he comes out while he's beating the crap out of Riddle. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like, that's dope. And I hope every city afterwards does this because, man, that was fun. Side note, outside of Monday Night Raw, apparently during one of the commercial breaks, Doudrop was like, hey, I'm not going to leave this ring until somebody comes out and makes me. Ronda Rousey came out, beat her up, threw out the ring. I tweeted this. I like that because they posted on social media, and I like it for the fact that us that are watching, no matter what city they go to, you're like, hey, we might see something that's not on TV that's going to be specifically and exclusively for us. That's cool. And that's going to incentivize people to go to Raw, SmackDown, their pay-per-views. So I'm like, man, that's really smart. But man, overall, this show, the fluidity was dope. The spontaneity and the little things was great. Of course, you had little hiccups with the Bianca Belair video package. And, you know, the thing with Theory getting announced after that whole thing. But, like, man, overall, man, Triple H did a really good job with this Monday Night Raw. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It felt fresh. It reminded me of when, after WrestleMania 13 and Bret Hart turned heel, you could sense Monday Night Raw changing into a more intense show where the hokey, over-the-top stuff started getting more intense, more serious, to the point. And you could sense that tonight, and it's like, let SummerSlam, this Saturday, let SummerSlam, come and go, and they go through it and everything. But, man, after SummerSlam, I'm like, we're going to see some really interesting stuff in WWE, and this should be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I used to enjoy the black and gold NXT, and just how I love the takeovers because they were just so fun to watch, and they were just different. It was WWE, but it was just like so different. It's like, man, this is like, how is this WWE and it's different? But man, Triple H did a very good job. Man, this was a fun Monday Night Raw to watch, man. But that opening segment with Roman Reigns and Theory, watch that. The Usos coming out after Theory left the ring, that was a dope spot. The Rey Mysterio Dominic celebration in the back with the Judgment Day coming out, that was shot excellent. Like, that whole execution of that was, man, that was so good. The AJ Styles Dolph Ziggler backstage segment was good. And then, of course, the main event, the Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins face-off, that was so good. Like, those things were so entertaining. And I got to say this is the first time in a long time, man, I'm really looking forward to next week's Raw, and I'm looking forward to SmackDown on Friday. Like, I'm really looking forward to it because it's like, man, okay, this is a Monday Night Raw I'm going to be entertained. I like it. So, kudos to Triple H, man. You did a really good job, and I look forward to seeing more WWE in the weeks to come. So, that is my review for the July 25th episode of WWE Monday Night Raw. Yes, Triple H's first show since being in control of all of creative in WWE. I hope I said that right. You guys know what I mean. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow House of Wrestling on all social media platforms. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, man, there's more wrestling coming this week, but I'm going to enjoy it.